So basically, guys, I made a video to give an example for the lesson chapter 5, lesson 4. What I'm going to do now is do an exercise in your book, number 1, page 102, exercise 5.4. Okay? If you are going to notice the problem, okay, in your book there are grids. But in my presentation, I cannot do grids because it's hard to do grids in here. Okay? So, basically, I already draw the graph. And it's already in your book. It's the graph of the cubic polynomial is already drawn. Okay? Now, we are going to solve 3 things out of this graph. Okay? Number 1 is, the first one is x bracket x minus 2 bracket x plus 1 less than 0, greater than 1, and less than negative 2. So it's very easy if you already have the graph. Why? Because what you are just going to take a look at is only these values, 0, 1, negative 2. So what does I mean? What do I mean? Okay? I mean you just need to draw lines. So how do I draw lines? I am just basically drawing lines that is equivalent to this. So since y is equivalent to x bracket x plus x minus 2 x plus 1, and this is the graph of that, this is y equals x bracket x minus 2 bracket x plus 1. This is the graph of that one. Okay? Which you have learned in your previous lesson already. Okay? So, if I am going to solve the first one less than 0, I am just going to draw y is equal to 0. Draw this line. What does it mean by y equals 0 as a line? I am just going to draw it here. Draw y equals to 0. Because basically y equals to 0 is the x-axis. Okay? So, therefore, I am going to consider also the sign. Okay? This sign is less than or equal to 0. So, therefore, everything that is below y is equal to 0. Below. I repeat, it's below y is equal to 0 because it's less than. But if it is greater than, then it's above the y equals to 0. So the line y equals to 0, below it will be the solutions. So since it's below, I am just going to consider this part. And what are the values of x in this part? It's only this. Okay? So let's color that one with another thing. So it's only this part. Okay? And also below that y is equal to 0 is this part. So I'm not going to consider this. Why? Because it's already above the blue line that I've drawn a while ago. Okay? So I am just going to consider this part because it's below the y is equal to 0. So I'm just going to consider this part. Okay? Because the values of x in here are the things that are, again I repeat, below the y equals to 0 is this part. So it means the values of x here are only from this point to this point. I am not going to consider this because it's already above y is equal to 0. Okay? So what are the answers for our letter A? Answers for letter A is, this one is negative 1. This is 0. This is 2. This is 1. Okay? So therefore, I have less than negative 1. So x is less than or equal to negative 1. And also, from 0 to 2. So it means x is greater than or equal to 0 but less than or equal to 2. Answers. Cut. Okay? Next is letter B. Letter B, it says greater than 1. Okay? So in here a while ago, I put y is equal to 0. So in our letter B, since it says 1 over there, then y is equal to 1 is the graph that we are going to draw. So this will be our line that we are going to draw. Now, since it's greater 1, you notice that it will not touch this. So there's a line over here. It should be a straight line. You have to use your straight edge or ruler so that you can have this. Okay? So this part. So this is now your y is equal to 1. This is the graph of y is equal to 1. Okay? Since that is the line already, you have to consider the values of x that are greater than 1. Okay? So since it's greater than 1, then you have to consider everything that is above y is equal to 1. That is in relation with the graph that we have. What are those values? It's only this part. Okay? And this part, you have to find out what are the values of x here. Okay? But you cannot find the values of x here if you don't know what is this point. What is the corresponding value of x? So, you have to find out what is this based on your graph. So, if I am going to take a look at here, it is 2.2. This is 2.2. Okay? Take a look at your textbook. It will be considered as 2.2 if I draw y is equal to 1. Okay? It's 2.2. Now, since it's 2.2, therefore, since I only consider the one above y is equal to 1, then I am just going to consider this part. Going to the right. So it means the answer here, there's only one. What is the answer? X is greater than or equal to 2.2. Answer. Next one is C. It's less than or equal to negative 2. If you will notice, there are two things over here. Y is equal to negative 2 as our line. So you draw that one, that line, and go in there. Okay? It says less than or equal to negative 2. So therefore, I am going to consider this point, and this point. Okay? Less than means lower than this line. It's below this line that I have drawn because this is y is equal to negative 2. Okay? Below because it's less than. Okay? Now, since it's below, I am going to consider this part. What are the x values of this part? It's going to the left there. And I am going to consider this part, which I should know what is the value of x here. I should know what is the value of x here by getting this part. Getting this part. Also here, you have to get the value of the x. Okay? So I am going to consider this part only. So the values of x here is this part. Okay? What is the value of the x here? The value of the x here is only negative 1.4. So this is negative 1.4. And the value of x here, it's only 1. This is 1. This is supposed to be 1. And the value of x here is 1.4. This is 1.4. Okay? So it means the answers here are, one is x is less than or equal to negative 1.4. And between 1 and 1.4. So it means x is greater than or equal to 1 but less than or equal to 1.4.